Hi, my name is Emily Fijoin, and today I'm going to talk to you about the psychoanalytic theory, who it's founded by, what it is, and what it means. This theory was pioneered by Sigmund Freud. Freud was an Austrian neurologist and the founder of psychoanalysis, a clinical method for treating psychopathology through dialogue between a patient and its psychoanalyst. Freud qualified as a doctor of medicine in 1881 at the University of Vienna. In 1885, he was appointed a doctor in neuropathology, and Freud became an affiliated professor with these subjects in 1902. He lived and worked in Vienna, having set up his clinical practice there in 1886. In 1938, Freud left Austria to escape the Nazis, and he died in exile in the UK in 1939. The psychoanalytic theory is a theory of personality organization and the dynamics of personality development that guides psychoanalysis, which is a clinical method for treating psychopathology. The psychoanalytic theory came to its full premise in the last third of the 20th century as part of the flow of critical discourse regarding psychological treatments after the 1960s, long after Freud's death in 1939, and its validity is now widely disputed or rejected. Freud's study emphasized the recognition of childhood events that could influence the mental functioning of adults. His examination of the genetic and then the developmental aspects gave the psychoanalytic theory its characteristics it has today. Freud claimed that all behavior has a cause, even slips of the tongues. Therefore, all behavior is determined. He also wrote about the personality and how it's made up of three different parts: the id, the ego, and the superego. The id is a distinctive component of personality. It consists of all inherited and biological components of personality presented at birth, included the sex instincts, eros, which contains the libido, and the aggressive instinct, which contains death. The ego develops in order to mediate between the unrealistic id and the external real world. It is the decision-making component of personality. The superego incorporates the values and morals of society, which are learned from one's parents and others. Parts of the unconscious mind, the id and the superego, are in the constant conflict with the conscious part of the mind, which is the ego. This conflict creates anxiety, which can be dealt by the ego's use of defense mechanisms. To test Freud's theory, we use projective tests. Projective tests allow the person taking the test to open up their mind to a particular stimulus in order to identify their personality or how they think on certain things. There are two main types of projective tests: the Rorschach test and the thematic appreciation test, also known as TAT. The Rorschach test is responsible for the ink blot test. It allows individuals to use their imaginations to decide what the drawings could be. If someone took the test one day and took it again on a different day, the results of their personality could be altered. With this, they show you ink blots and you decide what you see out of them. So certain people see butterflies and some people see faces, all in the same thing. And it just decides what your personality shows from what you see. The thematic appreciation test is similar to the Rorschach test, but black and white drawings are used with people involved in the test. The administrator of the test cannot differentiate between how a person really thinks, feels, and behaviors versus how they wish to think, feel, and behave, which is one of the criticisms on this TAT test. With every theory comes criticism. The psychoanalytical criticism seeks to explore literature by explaining how the following issues are represented: how human mental and psychological development occurs, how the human mind works, the root causes of psychological problems, and how the id, ego, and superego are represented in the theory. Though the psychoanalytic theory has some criticisms, Freud is a very well-respected guy in the psychology field. Freud did a really great job in deciphering the conflicts within personalities through the id, the ego, and the superego, and by identifying all three of those things and what they mean and whether they're in the conscious mind or unconscious mind. So that's just an overview of the theory. Again, my name is Emily Fijoin, and thank you so much for listening and wanting to learn about this theory.